Okay, today's video is two two more reasons why the higher spiritual path is very difficult. Is the more difficult path. It's not nearly as easy as some of us were led to believe by religion, right? Um, especially as you level up, it can't be helped. Like, it is the harder path, and preparation to understand, wait a sec, it is hard. And I can do this, right? Because so many times it will come through. Like, you'll have things come into your path that are dang hard. You'll have this thing that looks like a stumbling block, like you might perceive it as a stumbling block, but God tells you, this is for your growth. You can do this, and you will do it, guys. I'm telling you. So, two more reasons. Let's talk about. Oh, let me show you this. Hot girls love farm stands. I bought this at a farm stand. A farm stand. So, if you want to be a hot girl, shop local at the farm stands. Just kidding. I couldn't resist it. It was so cute. And plus I wanted to support the lady that makes these. So the first reason I want to list here, why the higher spiritual path is the harder, much more difficult path than you thought. Many people are prepared for the difficulties of the higher spiritual path and truly reaching for God and what's highest, our highest good, and highest good for others, right? So one more reason why that the higher spiritual path is much more difficult is that it is lonely. It is there is a portion of your path, it cannot be helped, where you will find isolation and or solitude, and both of those, and there's multiple reasons for this. So I'm going to give you an example of how some of what I've seen in my life with leaving religion, but also connected to your own personal difficulties. So I come from a religion that turned out to be, filled with wonderful members, taught a lot of truth, a lot of good morals and standards, just a lot of beautiful stuff. But at the root of it, it was very much a false church led by false light leaders. And it wasn't founded on the rock of Christ. It was actually founded on corrupt men and women. And at the head of the corrupt men and women was darkness. So it was a false church, false light church. So God has me and my family wake up to this, and it's sharp and it's difficult, and it's like, what? My entire world. So that particular religion that I come from was very, you could say it was very culty in the way that the culture was. You don't know when you're in. You have no clue when you're in, okay? You have no clue. It's not until you leave. You leave and you watch people be triggered by all these weird fear things, and very much go research Jehovah's Witnesses. Research the FLDS religions. Research some of these weird breakoffs. That the LDS church is the same thing, just different flavor. It's the same type of weird. And I used to look at the Jehovah's Witnesses and think they were weird and culty, and how could they possibly believe that? Not knowing I myself was believing a whole bunch of I had a false paradigm and false things. So anyway, my husband and I both woke up to the crazy incorrectness of our religion, and we're like, we cannot We cannot keep our kids in this. We ourselves couldn't attend. We love the people, truly love the people. So in leaving a religion, we lost community like crazy, because you spend your whole life on those benches with those people, the benches at church, the pews. And guys, I cannot tell you how many times people love you when you're on the pew next to them. They really love you. But when you leave that pew and you're like, I cannot do this religion anymore. I want God. I want Jesus. I don't want false leaders. I want what's true and what's right. And you leave those pews, you will find rejection, at least from the church I come from. There are churches that are not like this all. I have heard of many different churches. My husband has a bunch of coworkers from different religions, and they're not at all, some of them are, but like Seventh-day Adventists and just different churches, Bible churches and different Christian religions, where you literally can stop going and start questioning, and they're like, oh, we love you. Don't worry. Know how that is. Not the church I come from. It's very weird and very culty. If you stop going to church, you're like, I'm done. They instantly are afraid of you. And there's all these weird beliefs to put into your head through your whole lifetime of living the church. It's your whole world. It's your whole life. So when you leave those pews, you get people that said they love you that now are rejecting you and running far from you, which is part of understanding what was going on more. So when you see that, you're like, oh my goodness, I used to have those same fears. But so anyway, massive loss of community, massive loss. And for me, I cannot say this has been the most difficult thing in the world, because I woke up to greater light before I woke up to the darkness. So I feel like I've had an understanding of things as I watch people just go nuts. Like, oh my goodness, you pulled your records? I've had people like scream at me. I've had people run from me. But I see it with this understanding. So I'm like, oh, wow. Because I used to be that. I used to be that one that would block the person. They left the church block out of fear, because all these false beliefs and fears. So if that is a huge part of the loneliness, because a lot of people on their higher spiritual journey will have people, family, friends, neighbors. You will find rejection wherever you are. You may not have to leave your religion like I had to, but you will find rejection. People not only will, people disagree with, like, because if you're like, I want God and God alone. I want Jesus Christ. I want this Christed path alone. I don't want anything else. You can't help it. Just like Jesus's life, just like he faced rejection, you can expect that. But you don't have to let it get you down. Like, because honestly, who would you rather have on your side? God? Or your friends? Or your family? Whose support do you want the most? Do you want God supporting you and guiding you on your path? Like on this higher path? Or do you really need men? That it's a big part of the journey is, and that everyone's journey is different, I know, but it kind of is a part of the journey. It's understanding that you don't need mankind. You don't need the approval. You don't need approval or validation or even support from other humans. Like, we're all brothers and sisters and we're all here to support each other. But you actually, in following God, you have to trust him above well-meaning friends and family. So often that will look like, I can't tell you how many stories of people leaving their religion where they literally got completely rejected by family. Some of them, like some of the Catholics and Jews, and there's a lot of religions out there that are kind of like mine in the sense of, you left the family religion, you're cut off, you're done. My parents weren't like that. They're very loving and kind, but man, because you have to follow, following God, following Christ in the fullest, truest, straightest, strongest path, strongest way. I don't have the right words for it, but you do come to a point where you find yourself alone. It is lonely. And a lot of people are just crushed by the lack of support. They want support. They want to be validated. They want to be in the sheep herd. They want to be with everybody else. They don't want to be taking this deep, powerful journey of, God, teach me, show me, And so a lot of people won't take the higher path because they just kind of want to stay in their comfort zone, which I understand. And that may be their path for this life, right? Because everyone came with different missions and different things to do. But so you can expect that the path of isolation, where you may find yourself isolated, away from people. Maybe you're around people, but none of them believe. None of them believe in kind of the same beliefs you do. So you may be surrounded by people that don't support your belief system. You're still alone. It's still a lonely journey. And you can expect to just lose support. But again, in the end, you become dependent and completely obedient to God, to Spirit, Christ. Okay? So the highest of light, God, Christ, Spirit, your angels. In following this, people will fall away. They will leave you. You will have a lot of people think you're crazy. You're going to have people run away. You're going to have people that don't want anything to do with you because you're on different wavelengths. You're not seeing eye to eye on things. You're kind of going through things here, and they're like, I don't get you. Goodbye. And so just having an understanding of that, people will leave because more people will come in. So what is it? When one door closes, another door opens. Another one opens. That's true. That's true. More people will come into your life. But becoming dependent upon God and not worrying what other people think of you is a huge part of the higher spiritual path. Now, that's kind of talking about losing community, losing family, losing friends. It's really hard. It's really hard when they reject you, and they didn't used to reject you when you were kind of at their level in their similar belief system. But there's another aspect to this journey that is very lonely, that again, this cannot be helped, is even if you are surrounded by people that have the same beliefs. Okay, so imagine your spouse and maybe your children, or say you have family and or friends that have the same, are in the same place. They're like, I want God and nothing else. I want the highest. I want to fulfill the missions I came to do. Excuse me. And so you've got people around you that are in the same place of this. I am devoted to the higher spiritual path. I am devoted to God and Jesus Christ and all that comes from them. I will follow, obey, and be true, okay? So even if there are people around you, you still have personal issues, personal things that they can never understand. So let's just say your spouse is on the same path as you, okay? You will have things come up. You will, like I talked about in my other video, you will have the purging of deep trauma, trapped emotions. You will have things coming up to be seen, to be heard, to be seen, to be understood, and to be let go. Okay? You have to face yourself. And in a sense, you have to face your own demons. Your spouse can't do that for you. It doesn't matter if you had hundreds of people with on the same path, all on the same wavelength, with the same, just the same where you are. It doesn't matter. You are still alone in facing the deep soul cleansing and purification that you're going to go through. Like it's no one can do that for you. It doesn't matter if you're surrounded by all these people with the exact same heart and strength, and your trials of the heart, trials of healing, trials of cleansing, trials of facing your shadow, facing your addictions, facing why am I eating this? Why am I doing that? Like going deep into, I would say, your journey of self healing. No one can do it for you. And so you could be surrounded, but you still have to do it yourself. The journey to God is personal. It is you and God. The journey to deep healing within, it's you. Yes, you have a spouse next to you. If you're very lucky and blessed, you've got a spouse next to you doing the same thing. You can't do their healing for them. Like, they have to face themselves. So even though you are supported in a sense, the journey is still very lonely. Imagine having a past life come up and having to clear things and see things of who you are and what you've done in a past life, and say your spouse wasn't in that past life with you. It's do you see what I mean? Because even though you're supporting each other, you still have to do that alone. Like, it's you. It's you and God and Christ. Your angels, yes. You've got a ton of people on spirit that are with you. But that journey to self-awareness, like self-awareness, self-realization, and I say self-healing, but God heals you. Spirit heals you. You don't really heal yourself, but you have to find the things, it's your job to understand. Like, understand why do I feel like I need to do this? Why am I using this to distract myself from myself? Why am I using this as a crutch, or falling to this, or addicted to this, or like your journey of healing is one of loneliness, and it can feel very isolated. Okay? Because like I say, even if you're surrounded by like-minded people, it's still your own personal journey to God, to finding God, questioning, trying to get understanding, getting more guidance, healing, like I said. So that's number one. It is a lonely journey. Now, it's not constant loneliness. It's not constant, oh, I'm always alone. No. And here's the thing is, the more you feel God speaking to you, the more clear you hear your angels, the less you feel alone. So the more you tap into spirit and your angels and Christ, the more you tap into spirit realm, the less lonely you feel, because you know that there's a team. There is a team there working with you. Even if you may not have support in the physical realm, say a lot of people are against you and no one's supporting you. Say you're totally alone physically. Like, dang it, this is hard. I'm all alone. The more that you can perceive spirit and what's going on in spirit, the less alone you'll feel. Now, I need to say here, sometimes there will be, not everyone has this in their journey, but often on the higher spiritual path, many people find God calls them into a period of hermitage. God will call them into a period where you need to escape the world. You need to escape the world. Sometimes that looks like fasting in a cabin. Sometimes that looks like just getting away by yourself. Sometimes it looks like moving to a different home. Okay. But sometimes when you leave your religion, you will have a brief period of hermitage where you don't, because you've pulled away, you don't have people in your face, like in your life, from that religion, right? So you've pulled away from that, and you often will find God calling you into a period where you, whether it's just you or you and your family, are alone for a while because you need it. You need to let go. You need to almost detox, a period of detox from false beliefs. That's very common, to pull away, get away from the world. Sometimes that's getting away from a religion that wasn't serving, and like letting go of false beliefs. And often that looks like fasting. Sometimes it looks like not interacting with a lot of people for a while as you're coming back to God. So coming back to spirit, that period of hermitage, like I say, not everybody goes through that, but very often you'll be called for shorter periods. It may not be a huge thing like a move, or it may not be, a larger period of hermitage, solitude, where you need to get away from the world and all the voices, get away from all the voices and really spend time with God. Okay. It may not be a huge period, but it's very common and super, super helpful to have brief periods where God says, okay, you need to get away. You need to have a little bit of a break. And if you can follow that through, for me, that has often looked like periods of fasting where I'm able to go away for a few days, sometimes even 3, 4, 5 days, and had a short period where it's just me and God. Okay. And you may not be called to fast. Maybe you just have simple foods, non-addictive foods, but that's very common. That period of pulling away from the world, pulling away from all the voices, all the distraction, all the confusion, and listening to God, tuning in without all the noise around you. So if you haven't already experienced that, just be open for, if God calls you for a period of, you could say isolation, but it's not so much isolation. It's more like going off to be with God, which isn't lonely at all. But these periods are very helpful, very healing. Sometimes you really need to, sometimes it's small periods, like an hour a day where you get away from your kids and your family and you spend an hour a day or whatever it is. Maybe it's a weekend here or there where you you get away from the noise and distraction, and you just get clear and calm and say, okay, God, I am yours. I am yours. Use me in the ways you need me to serve on this earth. Show me, guide me, teach me the things I need to do, who I need to be, stuff like that. So I did want to mention the period of hermitage because it is very common. You will find so many people on a higher spiritual path taking periods, and even a family. Like I say, if you're leaving a religion, you'll find your whole family taking a period to just let go, and like let God move things forward. Let him move stuff out that doesn't belong in your systems, in your mind, false beliefs. Let him move it out, and then be completely open for what new, higher truths he brings in. Okay. So that's number one. The second reason why the higher spiritual path is much more difficult than we thought is that I can't tell you how differently I see this now, because in my old religion they used to kind of teach this, but you didn't really live it in the correct way. But anyway, so the second reason why the higher spiritual path is very difficult, and it is the harder, tiny, difficult, windy path up the mountain. I don't like straight and narrow because that sounds easy. That sounds like you just walk straight. No, it is straight in morals and God's guidance, but the path itself is like crazy, winding up a mountain. Sometimes you're hiking, sometimes you're climbing up boulders, and other times you're climbing up sheer as you're trusting in God as he leads you, okay? So it is the difficult path. But the second reason, there are lots of reasons really, but I'm just giving you two more right now. The second reason is that it's not very often. It's the higher path is the path of sacrifice. As you move forward into greater service and greater connection to God and who you really are, God will ask you to sacrifice things. You can't live with lower, I'm not showing it well because the camera's cutting it off. The word I've heard recently, which fits perfectly, is lower impulses from your lower self, your lower centers, you could say. One by one, you are going to have God have you examine why you do things. Let's just take a simple one, food. So very often food is used to drown out emotions, to distract oneself from heavy emotions or thoughts. Food is used in so many ways incorrectly in that sense. It's used to for comfort, right? For all these different things. And so just this example alone, God is going to have you examine what is going on in my soul that is causing me to crave. Why do I need this donut? Why do I think I need this donut or pizza or that big bowl of pasta? I had that one come up recently. Why? So you have to examine why this impulse is coming up, this desire for this delicious craving, right? And very often, God will have you sacrifice by saying no to those things that are harming your spiritual development. A lot of times, he will have you sacrifice that big bowl of ice cream at night so you can spend the time you would have eating in front of a movie or whatever it is. He'll have you spend that time in a higher way. Maybe he'll have you go for a walk outside. So this is just an example. There are many different things on this path. You will, it's not you may, it's you will, because the only way we become pure vessels for God's light and his love to come through into the world to a higher degree than ever before is we have to purify our vessel. Okay? The more pure, and I'm not just talking about the physical body, I'm talking about your soul. Okay? Because God works through your soul and spirit comes through you. If you are to do great works of light, of kindness, of service in this world, you have to become a more purified vessel to hold his light. You already hold it. You're born with the light of Christ. We all are. We already have it, but it can't come through as clearly and purely if we're all clogged up and we're literally busy we're busy focusing on all the things that bring us pleasure in this world. Like sometimes God will have you sacrifice, you could say ego sacrifices. Sometimes God will have you sacrifice the need for other people to tell you you're a good person, or for other people to make you feel good. And you'll have to just believe God when he says you're doing great, even when other people are not telling you that because they think you should be here doing this. Sometimes God will have you sacrifice turning to sex for comfort, for pleasure. And he'll have you face that. And he'll have you look and say, why? Why do I want this with my spouse right now? Is it truly because I want to serve my spouse? Is it truly for their highest good? You have to face the impulses that come up, because you'll have that, I want to make love to my spouse, right? And it's all wrapped in, because I love my spouse. We love each other. But what is going on that, like, deeper, at a deeper level? Why? You have to view that, okay? Why do I need this caffeinated drink? Why do I need this? Like, if I don't have this, what do I have to face if I don't partake of that caffeine, drugs, alcohol, weed, whatever it is? The ways we look to the world for distraction, for comfort, for escapism, the ways we escape ourselves and our thoughts and our feelings and our trauma. We escape so often the heavy stuff. God will, bit by bit, one by one, have you examine, and you will need to sacrifice things if indeed you want to follow God to the purest, strongest, to the best of your ability for your highest good and for those around you. You will have to sacrifice things. Sometimes it's fasting. Sometimes God will say, give me 3 days, no food. Maybe drink water if he prompts you towards that, or dry if he clearly, if you're clearly prompted to do 3 days dry. That's a massive sacrifice, to give up food and water for 3 days. Or just food. Maybe you can just drink plain water without any sugar or any calories. Maybe he's like, just give up your addictive cravings for 3 days. No caffeine, no No food, no cheesy, no sweet, no salty. Like, think that is a huge sacrifice. I don't know about you guys, but for a lot of people, that's like the supreme sacrifice. It's like, give up my yummy food. I cram my face full of it to avoid facing myself. That's often it. People cram it. They drown out their thoughts, their feelings, their fears with food. That's a common one. Sometimes you'll have to sacrifice a religion and a community. Sometimes you'll have to sacrifice looking good in others' eyes, your self-image. You will have to let go of looking good in other people's eyes and making people happy. Sometimes you'll have to sacrifice being a people pleaser to follow God clearly and truly on your path, to do what you came to do. I am telling you, you can just be prepared, right? Anybody listening to this probably already knows this. But if this is a new concept to you, you can at least take some sort of a, could this be true? And as you continue on your journey, see if he does. Sometimes he'll have you sacrifice social media for a period of time to get to know him better. He might say, take a month off. Quiet the voices of the social media world and find me. What else? It's whatever we are seeking in place of God, we will have to look at, understand why. And sometimes, or often, we'll be asked to give things up for a period of time, maybe for a long period, maybe a short period, like with fasting. He may ask a massive sacrifice of no more sugar and no more MSG. These toxins are hurting you, and you cannot hear spirit clearly in a sick body. Often that is one that I see very, very consistently in others, especially as Jay and I have worked on healing a lot of different people, healing and clearing issues in other people, getting the physical body in a healthier place so that God can come through more clearly is a big one. So God may ask you to go to the gym. He may ask you to start weightlifting or start walking more outside. There are different things that we really all need to be doing to have our body be a stronger, healthier, clearer vessel for his light, his guidance, his wisdom, and the service he'll ask us to do more of. More and more will come through as we function better. So you've heard, it's not this simplistic. There's more to it. But you've probably heard that the physical is connected to the spiritual, which is connected to the mental. There's also the emotional. But very often these three things, physical, spiritual, mental. Let's just look at the three. Okay, that one's very common, this triune health, triangle of health, where if one of them is suffering, the other two suffer. For example, mental. If, say you're pretty healthy, and you exercise fairly regularly. I mean, you got walking, and sometimes you dance for fun. Or say you're pretty healthy and you eat pretty well, and say your spiritual health is pretty well. You speak to God, meditation, and you feel like you're doing pretty well. But if you are not doing anything to to build and keep your mental body healthy and well, so you don't read at all, the other two will suffer. I would say it's not just reading, listening, podcasts, scriptures, I would say spiritual literature is kind of a must because great classics, great works, great books, classic literature is wonderful. But I would say also spiritual study really needs to be at least somewhat regular to build a strong mind. Because you need to be able to think. You need to be able to have critical thinking, to look at life, to understand things, to really just dive into what's going on politically, and to be able to put that through your mind and have a strong functioning mind. That's important. Now, the physical body. If you are unwell, if you are obese, and you are physically not doing well at all, you are sick, you can't expect to hear spirit very clearly. So you've got this darkened, heavy vessel. Spirit can't penetrate well. It's not going to be able to penetrate well if you're just very unwell. Having a healthy physical body, and I'm not talking about an athlete. You do not have to be like a pro wrestler, Olympic swimmer. Like, you don't have to be an insane athlete to have a healthy, strong body to be able to hear God more clearly, because the other two will suffer if the physical is low, if you're physically just sick. Now, I know a lot of people have chronic illnesses. That's a little different. If you've been diagnosed with chronic illnesses, and there are things that actually are part of your path and you must go through, that's different. You need to be working on yourself still. And there are many different ways that chronic illnesses can be healed and transformed into something higher. It's pretty crazy. The world of healing is it's there. The world of complete healing and reversal of everything under the sun. But I won't go into that. So anyway, the third one I want to mention, spirit. So you may have a healthy physical body. You may be studying, like you mentally, you're just sharp, right? You are able to analyze and look at things and really have critical thinking to question and try to understand and to parse things out. And your physical body's doing pretty well, so you're pretty healthy. You're feeling good. If your spiritual world is your spiritual body, there's more to it than just that, because you have your astral body. Your etheric body is the light body. The astral body is like your spirit that travels at night. And then you have this higher I, which is your I am, your I. So there's way more to your spirit than just, and then your physical body, of course, but there's more. But let's just say spiritually, you're not truly and deeply giving time to God. Okay. Now, I will say you can be in a religion and not be putting forth any spiritual effort. Like, you can be in a religion and you read your scriptures, you do this, I say my prayers at night, do this, I go to church. Like, you can just be skating by, just skating by, without like the higher seeking God and His will in your life. Like, truly saying, God, I give up my will. It's thy will be done, not mine, thy will. So really taking time for prayer, communion, like communion with God, speaking with God and your angels, and calling on Christ in all your troubles, calling on Christ to cast out, to guide you, to lead you. Your other areas will suffer. Like you have to be putting in some time. It doesn't have to be insane hours and hours per day, but the higher seeking has to be there, and the listening. So say you pray to God and then you run off, like sitting with, like communicating to God and sitting with it, waiting, writing. Have you ever tried spiritual writing? I say spiritual, but it's God coming through you. So you ask God a question and you say, God, angels, Christ, guide my hand. Like, show me, should I go to a scripture verse? Tell me what to write. And you will have inspiration flow, like in ways you don't get in other ways. So spirit writing, having God guide it. Okay. And I always call on Christ, because Christ is that high, the light, like the pure light. And I don't want anything coming through or affecting me or influencing me that is not pure light, that is not Christ or working with Christ. I don't want the dark side. We don't want the dark side coming through in any way, whispering to us, attaching to us, affecting us, influencing us. And it's constant aligning. It's constant aligning our spirit and our soul and tuning in to Christ's channel, right? We're tuning in to Christ and the light and God. We don't want to get a channel over here that's not quite, or a channel over there that's truly dark, but's masked as light. So, taking care of the spiritual, like I was saying, those three, just looking at that model, back to sacrifice. God will ask you to sacrifice things. You will find it may be caffeine in the morning. It may be sacrificing certain foods. It may be sacrificing by waking up earlier to commune with God a little earlier so you can hear him clearer. It may be, there are so many different ways. Maybe it is vanity. Like you may have God ask you to sacrifice and to work through vanity that you may have. Ego. He wants us to give up our ego. That's true. Our lower ego, so that he can come through and his will be done. There's 1,001 ways that the higher path is more difficult. And God will have us, whether we have to give up something or do something. Maybe he'll have you sacrifice time to go and do something for somebody else. Maybe he'll say, drop what you're doing and make that person a meal. It can be so many different ways that God asks us to sacrifice. But that is a very big thing on the path. And we have to be willing to give up, to change, to move through, to heal. Like we have to be willing to say, thy will, and thy will alone. And I give up my own, because a lot of us have desires that are not in line with our mission and our plan. Now, I want to say real quick, this doesn't mean that you will never be able to have tasty food or whatever, sexual relations or beautiful clothes. It doesn't mean you are not going to have those anymore, or a nice car, or whatever it is. Often we have to be the ones that in our hearts are willing to give it up for a period of time, or change it, or do whatever way God guides us. And that doesn't mean you're giving up food forever, obviously. Or whatever it is, okay? But you actually have to be willing to give it up. So you have to basically say, God, I've said this in my other videos, but I'm saying it again. God, here are all my desires, my passions, my whatever. Here's all the things I think I want and all the things I think I need. And you have to be able to take that bundle and stick it on God's altar and say, they're yours. I am yours. Change me. Help me be what I need to be. Help me be able to serve in this world the way you need me to serve. Help me let go of the things that are hurting me, that are slowing me down spiritually. Relationships is one of those. Very often, people use relationships. They distract themselves in a relationship instead of having God be that relationship they go to. They're going from relationship to relationship. People use people as a distraction. That's common. Excuse me, and that's also why it's a lonely journey, because you could have loads of relationships that are not going through the exact same deep soul searching, because their soul has other things that they have to soul search themselves, and your soul searching will be different from theirs. So, I'm saying it again, sacrifice. Be prepared. Be prepared to sacrifice in whatever way God wants you to. But you need to make sure you're really clear on it, okay? You need to double check. God, is this accurate? Is this true? Because it will come back again. It will cycle back through even stronger. Because sometimes you'll get like a little bit of a prompting where it's like, it could be something like no sugar for 30 days. Like, and you're like, are you sure? Like, are you sure you said that? Like, do I really need to give up sugar for 30 days? Like, you're not sure? It will come back. If it's something God's like, you need to do this to purify your body so that you can be a greater tool in his hand, to do his will on this earth, right? To do what you came to do, and it will show up stronger. Like, say you ignored that, and you're like, I am not sure. I think that was just my brain talking because I read this book about how sugar's bad for you, right? It will show up again, boom, and it will be even stronger. And you'll be like, oh my goodness, okay, I got it that time. Make a chart, 30 days, no sugar. I am going to obey you. God, I'm going to obey and follow and do what you need me to do. I will be what you need me to be. Go where you need me to go. Yes, like Nephi. But anyway, so those are two more reasons why the higher spiritual path is not easy. But it's worth it. Guys, it is worth it. The power that will come through for us and for those around us. The power that God will bring through. But you can't want power. You can't want it or seek that. You have to be able to give all your desires up. And then when God can bring through more powerful service through you. But so it's worth it. The spiritual path is worth it. I will say, even though the lows are probably lower, the struggle of facing yourself and facing your demons and facing your trauma that you didn't even know you had as a child or from past lives or even generational trauma. I've had things come through from my great-great-grandmother's line and, where I had to clear it and heal it because most of the people in my family didn't know how to. And it was like, Karen, this is on you. They don't know how to heal this deep trauma, and you do. So heal it. So I will say the lows, especially attacks from the dark side, how do you say it? On the higher spiritual path, the lows, the difficulties can be so much harder. Okay? The lows can be lower, but the highs, the peace in Christ and in your like solid guidance, this peace is better than anything. The lows may be more hard. The lows may be lower and more difficult than you ever could have imagined. You may be tested. You may be tested to your utmost. But in passing these tests and having, following God clearly, no matter what that is, the highs are higher, but not in like blissing out high, like in a deep peace and clarity that you've never experienced before. You're like in your entire being, like God is just like boom. And Christ, like the highs are stronger, they're better, truer. Anyway, so don't give up. Keep going. You can do this. All right. Thank you, guys.